Today I sat down to film this video and tried to change nothing about myself from how I was walking around half an hour ago. I'm telling you this because today I'm talking to you about the male gaze, or more specifically, why it isn't actually what's making you sad. So a quick disclaimer for this video. I don't like discussing social issues because I think social issues are symptoms of bigger problems. Why spend your time discussing symptoms when you can actually do something to treat the problem? However, I am very new to this and warming up, I thought this was an interesting video. Okay, so I don't want to assume that you have any idea what I'm talking about. So a little bit of background. It's essentially the way that a sex-driven man would see a woman and want her to talk, act, dress, essentially reduce her down to a being that is totally there for his satisfaction, enjoyment, pleasure. Essentially the perfect woman. But this unfortunately disregards the fact that women are human beings and they are not simply there to please men. However, this is the problem. Women are so clever that they figured out all the different things that men like. They realise that if they do all of them, they get attention. This can be good attention and bad attention, but attention nonetheless, and it's a really good thing. But now the women can't stop doing it, and it sort of takes over your life and seeps into everything you do. So there you go. That's the male gaze. And people say that a female gaze also exists, and it probably is. It probably does in a very small way, because I can't imagine a woman that wouldn't find a firefighter who saves puppies from burning buildings but can also make a crazy good carbonara incredibly sexy. Anyway, the difference is women find out what is attractive to men and they spend all their time, or a lot of their time, trying to fulfill it. Men don't know what women find attractive. They don't. And to be honest, even if they did, I don't think they'd care. They wouldn't. What? Don't come in here! Can you go quickly?
What were you doing?
I'm filming. That scared me so much. Sorry for that outburst. Young adult men tend not to have the best track record when it comes to respecting the intentions and opinions of women. Many people, when trying to explain the effects of the male gaze on women, cite a number of different examples. The problem with this thing known as the male gaze is that women learn these behaviours and these traits and they follow them around even when there are no men present. So a classic example is if you're laying in your bedroom completely alone and you suddenly realise that you are not laying in a particularly attractive way, you will adjust yourself and reposition your body in order to appear attractive to an imaginary and non-existent spectator. Do whatever you want. Do it. Okay, however, the male gaze isn't actually perpetuated by men a lot of the time. Sure, that is its root. However, I've found that the people who enforce the male gaze the most are women. I come from an all-girls school, and the way that you rank yourself socially is what is your proximity to boys. If you are friends with lots of boys, then you are popular. If you are attractive, and I said this, if you're attractive at 11, this was the metric we used when we were in year 7. If you're attractive, then you're popular. But the way that young girls will rise to the top and figure out their social footing is by comparing themselves to their peers. I don't want to say sexually because these are young teenage girls, but they rank themselves sexually amongst their peers. All these pressures that you feel to look a certain way, to dress a certain way, to be interested in certain music or media, it comes at such a price. If you really want social hierarchy and you want to be high up socially, then do all of these things. However, if you want to, if this is not saying that I did this when I was there at that age, I didn't know any better. But there again, I wish I had someone who could tell me these things. And also because I know that I have some viewership from my old secondary school, so I know that young girls are watching. The way that you're going to enjoy your life the most is for it to be your own. And this means by not living by anybody's metrics but the ones that you set for yourself. And you have to also be really honest with yourself when it comes to, am I doing this because I think it's good for me? However, I understand that it's the most difficult thing in the world to tell young girls that they shouldn't want boys to be interested in them, or that they shouldn't want girls to want to be friends with them. But by the time that you reach 19, 20, 21, come on. Every day when you wake up, you should be asking yourself every single decision in your day, who am I doing this for? What am I gaining? Is this going to do me good or is it going to do me bad? Even the media you consume, is this a good influence on me? Is this a bad influence on me? This is why I have made the decision to leave TikTok as a platform, because genuinely it is such a bad influence on. You are not supposed to have the opinions of millions of people that you don't know, that right there just seeping into your brain. No, this is a precious resource. What is the reason to own leather trousers? Fuck. If you really want to be free in life, you have to realise that attractive isn't a compliment. It isn't an important compliment. I do realise that because of human evolution, we are disposed to like, even trust attractive people. However, we also can spot ingenuity. There are beautiful people all over the world, and Charlotte Tilbury isn't going to transform you. As I said, attractive isn't a compliment. Mean girl popularity is not an achievement. You should take pride in your appearance, but make sure you are always 10 times more proud of the person you are. Okay, back to the gays. The gays, this is an explanation of what I discussed to be known as the global community. For some reason, we care what everybody in the world thinks about us. And of course I blame TikTok and Instagram because they're evil. They're evil, evil, evil apps. And they teach you that everybody is always watching you and that your popularity is literally quantified. I think that Instagram is slightly better because you can only encounter someone if you were to search them up. And anyone can only really encounter you if they look you up. However, TikTok genuinely is going to cause the apocalypse because of how the algorithm works. Everything is just shoved into your lap, buzzing into your mouth, shoved into your lap, in your plate, and nah, man, no, that's weird. That's actually really weird. This is why it isn't just men anymore. We have invited those girls that have a smoke outside the university library into our living rooms to watch us and say, oh, well, actually, you look really grim right now. It's so weird. But the trick to being, genuinely the trick to living a happier life and not feeling like you're watched all the time or that you always have to perform to this high standard is just to delete your social media. This is a really big ask. I understand that. I deleted mine, I think, on and off last year. And now I generally don't think about it because I do actual things during the day. And I'm not saying that to sound like an arse. I'm sorry. But genuinely, once you realise the amount of time that you spend fake socialising and looking at other people's lives that just make you feel awful and thinking about, oh, how am I going to show other people my fake life to make me look not awful? You're going to have enough time to write a novel. So all I can say to round this video off, it's going to be a lot of rounding. Fight it the best you can. Fight the desire for attention. and approval, because it's really, really difficult. And I catch myself making that mistake again. And then I realise, you know what? I'm actually fine. I think probably the key to not needing external approval and attention anymore is figuring out the metrics by which you are going to judge yourself and say, oh, I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I did a good thing, I did a bad thing. Okay, go back. Because the world is so determined on telling us where we go, what we're doing wrong, and what we should be doing, it's really easy just to follow it. I'm actually going to draw on Seneca for the last point of this. I love Seneca. And he says it's really, really useful in life to find somebody who you take to be a role model to you. And whenever you do an action, whenever you do something, you have to think, would this role model approve of this action? Would they think it was right or wrong? And that is probably going to be how you free yourself from these metaphorical societal shackles. I'm sorry. Another tip is to get your friends to join you. Say, hey, oh, look at this weirdo. Do you want to do what she says? And delete your social media and hang out instead. If you have ever felt this gaze, the best way to get rid of it is to essentially just shut out the people who make you feel that way. Because once you stop thinking about your appearance as the most important part of you, you're going to start thinking about other things. If there is anything that you want to know or you'd want to add, please comment. It's really, really fun for me, and I will definitely answer. This was a pleasure to make. Here's to many, many more. Thank you for listening. Every day, oh my God, have I been filming? I just had that feeling.